Phil, thank you. There were some games, man. Wow. The game in South Bend, Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, and Clemson. We could go on, and some Big 12 games we'll get to as well. Let's start. Well, you're right there in the middle of it. Is everybody high as a kite in College Station?
I'm hopeful, Smoke, that these guys, we don't have another replica of LSU last year. You know, after that win, boy, we arrived, our quarterback's ready. Now, it was a great win. Talking to a couple of their coaches, they were very realistic in that, you know, they won without playing great. You know, very seldom do you get a punt block for a touchdown, have a couple of penalties that hurt you bad, the kickoff return, and overcome it. It was a great win. I just hope, and I know Elko is hoping this too. Just let's keep growing. Let's try to get better.
You know, Phil, I've seen, so many Aggie games over the years, and they had those moments where it's like, well, here they go. Like, this is it. Look, Marcel Reed missing 2 sure long touchdown passes by a foot. Like, those kind of things are the things that kind of ate them up, where they never capitalized on opportunities. What can a win like this do for a team that, especially since it's not against an SEC team, it's a non-conference game in football mecca at South Bend, can do for them, knowing that when they do make those mistakes, that they don't have to derail the whole thing, which has really been A&M's problem for quite a while, is you miss the one opportunity and you think that another one's not coming around.
Paul, you're exactly right. The people watching the game thought that. Mm-hmm. You know, when twice Concepcion's open, makes a great route, and we overthrow him. I think that's what they're excited about here. I know I was. Just watching them fight and play together. They're a little bit different team. You look at wideout, and they remind me of us at Baylor. They have run after catch guys. You know, they have Kendall Wrights, Corey Coleman's, those type guys that every time you throw it to them, you got to get them down. And I think Marcel, his stats, his yardage was great. His completion ratio wasn't great, but I think he'll get better and better. And I think you saw a team that even at their worst moments never gave up thinking they could win the game.
Did you know, Mike, I'm sure we probably asked you, but I don't recall. Did you know Mike Elko before A&M at all?
Yeah, I've known Mike. I've sort of course, he's quite a bit younger than me, but I knew him. I had some friends of mine that worked with him when he finally got his big break job at Notre Dame. And, I think, too, one of the things I'm really happy about, Mike has taken over the defense. And I don't think if you looked at their roster, they probably don't have the draft picks that they had last year, but I like some of the things he's doing with them that gives them a better chance.
Well, it's an impressive win, no doubt about it. Dramatic as possible, just as dramatic as it could. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say one of the things was putting Des Ricks on Malachi Fields because Will Lee was full up of him.
Right. Yes. You know, that is such a historical place. I've told y'all the story. I coached in the longest game in the history of Notre Dame, and we won in 5 overtimes when the sprinklers came on.
Yeah, you did bring that up.
I brought that up, but that game, everybody, all the A&M people that I talked to, just talked about the buildings, how iconic it was. But I don't know about y'all, but I watched a lot of games. There sure seemed to be a loud support crowd for A&M when they did something well. I mean, I think they represented well there.
No question. There are different videos, when the game's over, of pockets and even a suite or 5 or so where they were locked into that. So who wins a cage match between Brent Key and Clark Lee?
I'm gonna have to go with Brent Key. He's an offensive lineman. Clark Lee's not that big.
He was a fullback, though. I mean, he's got to be that.
Yeah. I really I don't know Brent Key very well, but I sure like the way he coaches. And it's something that caught my attention after the game. Well, they came up and they were like just astounded that Georgia Tech had won.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at her and he said, "Now listen, well, we're not totally. We've done this before, and we expected to win, and I love that, and I think that's the way they play. After the game, I told Julie, my wife, I said, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but I wonder if Jimbo ever goes back and says, I wish I would have used Haynes King like we did the young man from San Antonio, and that they played so well when they went to the Orange Bowl, but they got away from that offense. Haynes could have done that, but man, he had a great day.
Kellen Mond and then Haynes King. Yep,
that's right. They were two of a kind.
Yep.
And Jimbo and them did a great job. Daryl Dickey was here, and they did a great job of using him. But for some reason, when Haynes got here, they decided they wanted to be a drop-back team. And that's coaching. And unfortunately, it cost him.
How difficult is that end-of-game fire drill field goal? Like, how much time went into perfecting that, and then but actually had to go out? I mean, we were all watching that clock thinking, oh my God, they're going to run out of time, and they nailed it. I mean, could not have spared a single second more than they did. But I mean, just how difficult can you put that into terms from a coaching perspective?
I think that Haynes said it after the game. This is the drill that we work on from spring all through fall camp, and that we do it every Thursday. And you practice. You have somebody timing it. And I think the offensive staff and Brent did a really good job. It was almost like the dang Cowboy game Sunday. You didn't want to leave any time on the clock. I mean, you couldn't afford, because Clemson had finally got on a little bit of a roll. So I thought they did a great job.
Coach, what did you think of Georgia and Tennessee and that ridiculous? I mean, that was a crazy good, fun game to watch. I mean, I don't think any less of Tennessee than I did. I think they're still a really good team.
Oh, wow.
I'm just bummed out for them for the end of that game.
We just talked about, how important is finishing a game with a field goal. And a 41-yard field goal should be a 90% kick. And it didn't even come close. I mean, I think we could all say as soon as it came off his foot, we knew we were going to make it.
Yeah.
I was disappointed for Tennessee because I have some friends there, but I was also proud of Georgia. Coach Bobo offensively, I mean, there was right at 999 yards of offense in that game. A lot of Art Browls there, guys. A lot of Art Browls in that game.
Coach, I was going to tell you, I was looking at that score, a couple of other scores from around. I mean, the A&M Notre Dame score. I know that wasn't
40.
Yep. Hey, the tempo,
I remember when those games used to happen.
All those things.
I remember when those games used to happen, and they say, "Oh, nobody plays defense in the Big 12."
That's right.
Like, and now it's like these are.
But I told y'all the story. Nick Saban told me that day at Calgary in Freeport. He said, "I know this stuff is coming to us." He goes, "We need to get together and talk about it." And Art says, "Not no, but hell no."
I made that comment too. After the games, I said, I don't know that 10 years ago, this was thought of as not very good football because there's no defense being played. No, there's defense being played. It's just a different tempo and style and what's going on.
You look at that game, and of course I look at it as a coach. 1,000 yards offense, and it's who can make the last stop. That's what it came down to. They had nothing about yards per play, total yards. It was who could get the last stop and who could make the play on offense. Coaches are using every inch of the field like Art Browse did 10 or 12 years ago. And it's let me tell you something. It's hard to defend. It is.
I did a podcast with former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick for a little while in 2020, and one of the things he used to tell me that's really affected how I look at it, he goes, yards, like you can't worry about yards anymore. The rules for the defense make it impossible to have a game where you don't give up a ton of yards. Like you just can't do the same thing. So he said, we were always told red zone, third down percentage,
and
worry about those things. And if those things are good, you have a good defense. Turnovers and sacks.
Not to interrupt you, but that's what once I went to Baylor and we figured out, hey, this is what we got to do. We became, I never worried about total yards because we knew you're going to play a lot of snaps. And it's just what you're saying, red zones, turnovers, fourth downs, who goes for it? Fourth downs are you look right now more than any time. I mean, when Art used to go for fourth down, people said, he's crazy. He's reckless. Look at all the fourth downs that are happening.
Dave Aranda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aranda's
going for like 6 times in that Auburn game on fourth down. Yeah, it's like everybody's doing that now.
It's become the end thing to do. And there's been it's evolved. The game is different.
Analytics has a lot to do with that. Did you ever have to, as you were closing out your career, was that much involved where you were at Arizona State or North Texas?
Analytics by common sense is what I believed in.
Okay.
I don't need a guy that's sitting there dotting. I really don't. And I don't think any of the good ones do. I think a lot of that's bullshit. I do.
What do you really think? Phil Bennett with us on Mondays here on 365 Sports.
I'd like to have, it's good to have numbers that can, if I've already kind of think that this is something, I'd like to see the numbers to make sure I'm not crazy. But again, you've got to coach with gut, right? Like, this is not the time to do this, or this is the time to do this.
Well, if you remember, if you're sitting there watching the end of the game, the hurry-up drill with the Cowboys yesterday, did you see what they did right before they kicked the 64-yard field goal?
Yeah.
They didn't throw the ball. What'd they do?
They ran it.
They ran it.
They got a big chunk.
4 yards.
Yep.
And kicked it. And the clock was perfect.
Yep.
And I just think I do believe there is a role for analytics, but I think it's pregame. I don't want to get in the game, and sit there and say, hey, we're going to go for 4th and 4 just because somebody says that we should. Especially now, if we're sitting there and we're playing lights out and my quarterback's playing good, everything's good, I'll say, yeah, let's do it. But it's still that gut feeling of how you're performing. And that's one of the things I want to compliment Brent Key again. He knew they were playing really good defense. And he did some things with Haynes that he knew they had to score. That's a game, there wasn't a ton of total yards, but because both teams were running the ball, they competed at the highest level.
Phil, again with us, Craig, question for Phil Bennett on 365 Sports.
I know oftentimes this is part of the fun of having you on is that it's all of your connections of people you've met over the years. How much did you ever cross paths with Rich Rodriguez?
I got a funny story about Rick.
Oh, please.
Rick, I've known him. When I went to Pitt, he left. And I've known Rich. When he went to Michigan, he hired one of my former GAs. And of course, that was a bad thing. Well, my last game at Arizona State, they had that hot quarterback that like the week before had rushed for, I think, almost 400 yards against Colorado. I can't remember his name, but he was on fire, and Arizona was on fire. And we go out. Todd Graham had worked for him at West Virginia for the game. Boy, he's coming up, and he's telling me, man, Phil, you've got him playing good. Y'all are, boy, so improved. Now, let me tell you, the year before, he had 540 yards rushing on Arizona State and beat them like 50-10. And I thought we could beat them because we So we go out there, and it is really a good first half, and then we take it over. And after the game, I mean, he's out there, and he sees me. I start walking to him, and he turns and runs. Well, I couldn't stand it. I ran his ass down. And I said, "Hey, are you going to run from me?" And he turned around and goes, "No, I'm sorry." And he was nice, but he was so dejected. And after that was his last game there, because little did I know he probably had other issues. He had his wife and his girlfriend on the sideline, and that's the game that he got popped. So it was sort of like a Coldplay concert. It wasn't good for him.
Yeah. I can see y'all two being a very fun crew to be around, have a couple beers with for sure, trading stories.
Let me tell you, he's a hell of a football coach. I mean, I watched the end of the game against Pitt. Hey, they ran the dickens out of the ball and willed themselves to win after losing who we found out was a pretty good Ohio team by playing Buckeyes so well. But that was a big win for them.
Did you feel the extra spice with the backyard brawl when you were a part of that from the Pitt side? What was that like?
Let me tell you, my daughter and son were in college, and I brought them to a game, and it was in West Virginia. And I'll never forget this. As soon as we got off the bus, it was a Friday night game. This little kid sitting there with his dad holding his hand. I swear he wasn't more than 6. And said, Dave Wanstead got out and says, "How you doing, little buddy?" And he stuck his middle finger and said, to Pitt. I went, "Oh, this is real." So after the game, we lose on the last play of the game. We missed a field goal. We had a wide receiver drop a ball that was for a touchdown. It was a great college football game. And after the game, Sam and Maddie meet me, and we're going to ride back to Pittsburgh on the bus. And Maddie, I think she was a freshman at Baylor, that she looked at me. She says, "Dad," said, "we sat next to a man that his shirt said, 'I'd rather my daughter be a slut than a student at Pitt.'"
No,
that's serious.
Right. I saw watching the game the other night. So many times they would pan to the crowd, and West Virginia fans had an F Pitt shirt or something like that, and then you could tell immediately. You could tell immediately they're like, move, and he's up.
Yeah.
Hey, they hate each other.
Yeah. Phil, let me wrap it up with this. Virginia Tech and UCLA are now looking for head coaches. It didn't take long with Pry at Virginia Tech. He didn't have success, and we know that Deshaun Foster, 15 games in. Which is a better job?
I would have to say Virginia Tech. I'm afraid the West Coast teams involved in the Big Ten, too many issues. Virginia Tech has proven that they can play, on a big stage. I don't know what happened with Brent. I know he's a good coach. I just, things happen. I don't know. Monty is up there.
Yep.
I haven't talked to Monty, but I watch them and I see no players, no explosion on either side of the ball. So I think recruiting, NIL, all those things have got to become important. UCLA UCLA and USC have been name jobs, Dave, but I don't think they back it up with the NIL and the money and the ability to get kids there.
Yeah, if any of the two, USC is going to do that in that area anyway. Man, it's great to see you. What a weekend. We got Utah, Texas Tech coming up, Arizona State at Baylor. A couple of
I think I'm going to be at the game Saturday.
Oh, let me know. Well, let me know. We'll come down.
You.
Yep, let me know.
A good friend of mine that's head of the bank here has called me, and hopefully I can make it happen.
Would love it.
I'm excited about that game. I think it could be one of those real good ones.
Yep. Well, appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you if you're here. Thank you, Coach.
All right.